You're listening to the Small and Supercharged podcast with Ria Freeman, episode 167. Hi and welcome to this episode of the Small and Supercharged podcast. And this one's going to answer the question that you may be asking yourself of what on earth am I going to post? I don't know what to post. I've run out of inspiration. I'm recording this when it's super hot. And I don't know about you, but when it's hot, I think my brain starts to melt. And I'm sure that's not medical. And it can be really difficult to get that inspiration going when you feel drained or tired or exhausted. But I have got a bit of a formula that works without fail to help people to know exactly what they're posting, when they're posting it, so they never have to worry about this, I've got nothing. Because I think sometimes when we've got so many options, it becomes very overwhelming and we can't decide what we're picking. We can't decide if we can post about anything in the entire world. It can be very difficult to decide what we're going to post about, bizarrely. More choice is not always a good thing, it turns out. Quite the opposite. So, if you're not sure what to post, if you have got nothing to post, or you don't think you have, then hopefully this podcast is going to help you. If you do listen, please do screenshot and share to stories and let me know if you've ever been in this position. I think so many people have. And of course, if you want more information around how to really thrive on social media and take your marketing to the next level, Small and Supercharged Mastermind is a really strong place to be. But let's crack on with, you've got nothing to post on social media. You're out of ideas. How do you do it? How do you get these ideas back? How do you get this inspiration flowing? So the first thing I would suggest is a trusty pen and paper. If you want to use your computer, you absolutely can. But honestly, I think a pen and paper is nicer. And one way to think about the content that you're going to post is think about what you as a brand, whether you're a business or you're a personal brand, what are kind of the core bits of you? What makes you you? What makes you special? What makes you unique? This is important, and it's important in all your marketing activities, because whilst it's important that we want to talk about what we sell, we also want to allow our fans and followers to engage with us around different aspects of our business and what we do. We want them to be able to connect with us, to be able to reach out to us, to talk to us. We want our content to resonate with them on different levels. Because whilst, especially if you're a product-based business, you want them to buy, you're more than just that on social. It's social media because it is a social platform. It is like the most insane networking opportunity. It's the most incredible marketing opportunity. It's all of these things. And of course, if you're building a personal brand on social media, there's more than just one thing about you. So I'm going to use the example of me. I know this is something that in Mastermind particularly, I've worked with quite a few people to sort out for them as well. But so for me, what I do, many things, but I basically help brands promote themselves on a budget. I do a lot of that with social media. So I'm always going to have some social media content, more likely a tip or a trick, which is going to be on a hashtag day, which is probably going to be on a Tip Tuesday. So I'm going to be sharing a tip about social media that day. So social media is a big thing for me, and tips that help my fans and followers to do better on social, to like it more, to use it more is a big deal. So for me, social media tips would be one. The horses would be one. Obviously, I work with a variety of different clients. A lot are equestrian, a lot are rural, but particularly with the She Means Business programme and when I have given trainings as a lead trainer and some of the speaking events I've got coming up. It's not all horsey, but for me, the horses are a big part of what I do. So I would put horses in. Now you might think, but you don't teach riding, you don't teach about anything horsey. No, I don't, but a lot of my clients are equestrian and a lot of them, whether it's one-to-one or whether it is in Mastermind, have got horsey links. So the fact I can speak horse and happily speak horse a lot is something that people can talk to me about. I'm very lucky, I've got two horses. I've got a bit of a feisty old mare who's fabulous, and I have many bizarre chats with people about their opinionated mares as well. And I've got a homebred gelding who's lovely, but slightly quirky. So again, we have chats about him as well. And it allows people to get to know me better. Are all these people going to become customers of mine? No. Does that matter? No. And I know that might sound bizarre, but it doesn't, because it's not necessarily people who are directly going to become customers of ours, but it's people who are nice to connect with on a human level. It's people who will recommend you to others. It's people who will share your content because they think it's really cool and they like it, and that has the potential to reach others who are interested in what you do. And it's just nice to speak to nice people. So horses are one for me. Social media tips is one for me. Mastermind is one for me. So I might share information about Mastermind, or like the products I sell. So Mastermind, the rider course, but Mastermind is my main focus at the moment. Things like when I give talks, when I give webinars, those get woven in as well. So kind of work would be one, which could be webinars, things like that. Mastermind could be another one where I talk about members of the Mastermind group. That could be another one. The countryside is a big thing for me. So countryside shots of around the area, because again, it connects to my rural client base, because it just does. People will also find it funny when I'm in a city and very, very perplexed by life. So we've got, rural, horses, I treat them a bit differently, social media and PR tips and tricks, work, Mastermind, motivational sayings. I love a motivational saying because I find them very, very useful. I think they are awesome when they're good ones. I like to share them. I might share that on Motivational Monday, or I might share that at a different point in the week if I think it's a good quote. I try and do my own quotes quite a lot that I say to people that works for them, that makes them think about something differently. A lot of this is connected to building a brand, to growing a following, to developing an audience, to kind of looking after your own sanity, I guess, when it comes to social media and marketing a business. So for me, that's another part of what I do. And they're the main bits I talk about. They're the main things I talk about. And of course, the podcast you listen to now, that for me is a really serious pillar of content that I promote at least once, usually twice a week, through the post that I put up on a Wednesday, but also through a quote post at the weekend. And that's a really serious thing for me. So I know that every Wednesday and once the weekend, I have got something about the podcast, and every Tuesday I've got a tip. Monday is usually a Motivational Monday post if I haven't got something work related I want to share in the week. Tuesday I've got a tip, Wednesday podcast, Thursday often something work related, sometimes a quote. And when my book's out, I'll probably weave some bits into that on a Thursday as well. I know, get ready, it's going to be exciting. Friday, often a Mastermind post or something about the horses or the countryside, and often at the weekend there'll be a quote post or something about the countryside and horses. So whilst some parts of the week are very rigid, like Tuesday, Wednesday and one weekend post, I know exactly what I'm posting. The others, I do usually know what I'm posting, but there is a bit of flexibility there, because I think some people can find the content pillar idea very, very restrictive and think, well, what if on a Monday I want to post something different? Go for it. The thing with this idea is it's not there to restrict you, it's there to help you. It's a framework, but it doesn't mean you can't break the rules. And one great example of when to break the rules would be things like awareness days, ones that really speak to you, ones that you're involved with. I would absolutely bump a schedule for that. I'd move Tip Tuesday to a Wisdom Wednesday or something else altogether. So awareness days can be really good, and there's some really good websites online that help you with the specific awareness days. That they're quite broad in range. If you search for specific, if you search for Awareness Days UK, you will get a huge amount of awareness days. And to be honest, some I didn't even know were things, but they are. You do not have to, and I would heavily advise you don't do all the awareness days, because one, it's just a bit dull from a follower or fan point of view, but also not all of these awareness days are relevant to you and your business and or your brand and what you do. And if you're just like, yay, it's something completely random, Awareness Day, your fans and followers are going to go, okay, she was struggling for content. You don't want that. I think Awareness Days really work well, the usage of them, when you have got a connection. So maybe it's because a family member has been affected by something that is connected to that Awareness Day. Maybe you personally have. There are some really fun Awareness Days too. There's like Awareness Days, Emoji Day. And there's an emoji day, there's like a chocolate cake day, there's all sorts of random days that if they're on brand for you, then that they can be very effective and be very fun and work really, really well. But don't feel like, oh gosh, it's this week, I have to get on board with it, because then you become inauthentic. And I think what we all really need on social all the time, but I say now more than ever, but I think it's something that we need to be all striving for, is this authenticity. So saying that you're really passionate about a cause when really you don't have any connection, you don't really care, that sounds harsh, but you haven't got that extra thing that is really important to you while you're really behind it, I wouldn't bother. I really wouldn't bother, because it just doesn't make you, it makes it look a little bit fake and like you're trying to jump onto an Awareness Day just to get that extra potential exposure from using the right hashtag, which I don't think anyone wants. So I wouldn't do that. I would make sure you do your Awareness Day research, and if there's something that you're passionate about, that you can connect with, that you can tell a story around, that you can share something about, absolutely awesome use of an Awareness Day there. But not if it's just there and you think, oh yeah, I'll get on board with that. And the same with events. Another thing that can really be positive for brands is if there's specific events or specific things that that you want to talk about that do have a hashtag that goes with them. Now, the thing is that not all events you're going to care about in equal volumes, and that's fine too. You don't have to get on board with everything because you think, oh, it's something great to talk about because this is happening. I've got no interest in it, but I'll shove the hashtag on anyway and take a picture. It's not going to work, because your fans and followers will be thinking, hang on, I didn't think she had any connection to this. And if it just comes out of nowhere, it's quite jarring when you're looking at it overall and you're like, didn't know they did that, didn't know they're interested in that. It's not quite right. So I'd be aware of that. I think as well, if you are an influencer or a brand ambassador or a sponsored rider, it's good to be factoring some sponsored rider, brand ambassador, influencer content into your schedule regularly. And because if you're trying to promote yourself as this, and if you've got an agreement with a brand or a brand, you need to be doing the work. So don't think, I've got nothing to post. I've got nothing. Think about adding one of those pillars. Obviously, everyone's sort of content pillars, content ideas, content hubs, whatever you want to call it, they are all going to be different for everybody. And even people that do exactly the same job that I do, for example, theirs will be different. Their hubs, pillars, whatever you want to call it, they're going to be different from person to person. And that's great. That's what makes it interesting. So when you're working through them, also think about the commitments that you have. If you have got commitments to brands, make sure you put that in as one of your pillars. And the great thing is that when you've planned out these bits, these things that make you, I kind of imagine it like if they all kind of came together and there was a puff of smoke, you would be there at the end of it. You can then crack on with the batching. And I'm not going to go into this because on episode 149, I did a whole episode about the power of batching and saving time and feeling smug and all those good things. So go back and listen to that, because when you know what you're doing, you can then gather that content and store it up. So for example, with me, I could go onto Canva, love Canva, and do a load of tips for Tip Tuesday, which would mean that when Tuesday came round, I was already sorted. I'd already done that. If it was a horse day where I'm going to talk about the horses, I've got a load of professional photographs. Awesome, I can use those, or I can use some of my own photographs. Or I can go and take photos when the weather's nice and it's not blowing a gale, and I can think, great, I've got those in stock now. And the same with podcast quotes. I've actually got a template set up on Canva, so even though I do them each week when the podcast comes out, it doesn't take me long to extract some of these quotes and just put them into Canva and go, great, that one's done. Again, with Motivational Monday quotes, I could do that. I could just go and sit and just do a load of them, what comes into my head, make notes on my phone, whatever. So when you know what you want to talk about on those specific days, what recurring themes you've got, you can then create the content around them. And obviously then you can schedule, which you know I'm a big fan of, but it's great to just not think, oh no, I've got nothing to post. You've got loads of content to post. And another thing would be going back over your account, looking at things you've posted in the past that have done well. Has enough time elapsed that you can post something very similar, just with a slight tweak in wording. Don't do it very quickly because it does lose its interest if people just think, gosh, she's just posting the same thing over and over again. She's got nothing. But it can be very effective if you know something did well before and actually it's very timely, it's very relevant. Don't be afraid to reuse content. I would tweak it a bit. I would make the wording different. I'd perhaps, if it's an image that you use a lot, I would tweak that and maybe edit it slightly differently, zoom in, pull out, whatever. But you can change the wording. It can still have a very similar theme, but if it's stuff that's doing well, I mean, you can even have a whole pillar for that, a whole hub for that, a Throwback Thursday post, if you wanted to, on a Thursday. So don't think you have to come up with fresh stuff every single time. You can go back through your back catalogue and see what stuff is still going to resonate with your audience now, what stuff's very, very timely. There's a piece that I post fairly regularly on the Small and Supercharged Instagram account about not being afraid to mute, unfollow, snooze, all the other things, people that don't kind of help you on social media, accounts that make you feel less than or get you angry or make you feel like you don't want to feel. And that's a post I use a lot, and it's words that I talk about a lot, and it's things that I say on my own account a lot because it's really important. And whilst I'll do a different caption for it, I might use the same post because it says, don't be afraid to do this, this and this. I could reword it, I might reword it, but the message is the same, and it's an important message that I think is it's on brand for me, but it's very, very important. And I've had a lot of people message me or comment and saying, really needed to hear this today. And when I get those comments, I think, yeah, it was important to share that. Even though I've shared it before, it was important to share it again. If it's that kind of evergreen, timeless content, you're able to do that more. So there's lots of different things you can do, but never think, oh, I've got nothing to talk about. You've got plenty to talk about. Whether you want to talk about it or not is a different thing. But just taking a breath, getting a piece of paper and thinking about the sort of essence that make you. What are those key bits that make you? And you might come up with loads of points that you might want to condense. So you have like a weekly rotation. So you've got 4-day week now. So you've got 7 things that you want to rotate. You might want to, if you're a brand particularly, mix between saying, oh, we're having a product this day, then something about the founder, a product this day, something about behind the scenes, a product this day, something about this. You can make it completely about you and completely personalised. This doesn't mean you shouldn't use social media to sell and to educate people about what's available and why they should work with you. But through this sort of idea of looking at the bits that make you, the kind of the very core of your being, those elements that make you, you can then create content around those elements. And then you can use that to populate your social media and have that in a rotation. Whether or not you run it as a seamless rotation or you insert bits in is completely up to you. But there's always stuff to post. Even if you go back in time and you pull up old posts and rejig those to make them to work for you now. I hope that has helped. I think particularly this has obviously come out during the summer holidays and we can all feel a little bit frazzled, and especially with the heat and with the children, a bit frazzled and like we've got nothing. But you can also be honest and say, you're doing a throwback post because it seems timely now and you're frazzled. But there's a lot you can do, and I do really believe that consistency is really important on social. It doesn't mean posting 16 times a day. It doesn't mean being glued to your phone all the time, but showing up regularly is important. And if you have a bit of a plan, so you're never at that stage where you're like, oh, I've got nothing to post, oh, I've got no images, I've got no words. Well, if you've done a bit of batching, when you've worked out these hubs of content, it will make your life a whole world easier, and stop that, oh God, I've got nothing feeling, which no one likes. It's a horrible feeling. I've been there. So I hope that's helped. As I said at the start of the episode, please do screenshot and share stories if you tune in. Let me know if it's helped. Let me know if you've been there. Let me know how you ensure that you always have content that you want to post. And as I said also earlier, if you want to really take your marketing or social media to the next level for your brand or business, do have a little look at Small and Supercharged Mastermind. There is so much value in there. We've got masterclasses, marketing masterclasses, mindset masterclasses, weekly lives, social media critiques, opportunities coming out of your ears, so much in there. And I would love to see you there. If you hop over to my website, riafreemanpr.co.uk, there is a Small and Supercharged Mastermind tab right at the top, and you are very welcome to have a look at that, and it would be fab to see you in the group. Thanks so much for chatting, me chatting, thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch up really soon. Take care.